20年、30年在这个行业和整个一个营销行业的一个历史和一个经验上面来提炼的一个领导力培训的一个精华。今天会非常欢迎各位啊，不论你在北美这边，不论你在加拿大，还是在美国，还是在大中华，还是在世界任何一个角落啊，非常欢迎您来参加我们 Steven 领导力的培训。那么 Steven 的培训呢，不单单是在我们公司内部啊为各位员工进行培训。那现在呢，开心团队啊，作为第一支团队有幸来参加 Steven 领导力培训的团队呢，我们非常非常有幸啊，能够参加 Steven 这一系列的关于以原则为中心领导力的培训。今天是8月3号，是我们整个一个系列培训的第3节课。好的，我们再次欢迎 Steven. Thank you very much, and now the time is yours.
Thank you, Ian. And Ian, if there is any challenges or problems that we need to with interpretation or technical, please go ahead and interrupt me to make sure we get the best experience for everyone today.
Yes, Steve, can I remind everybody there's Chinese translation?
Yes, and they just...
各位，我们今天的我们这整个一系列的培训，包括今天的培训有中文翻译啊，请在下面选择中文翻译，你就可以听中文翻译。All right, thank you, Steve.
Thank you, sir. Always so grateful for Ian and his leadership, aren't we? And Tracy and Vida, and especially for the help today for interpretation. And I believe it's Ida. Did I get that right? So thank you so much for all of your help today to do that. And I'm excited to be with all of you. Before we dive into our leadership discussion today, I want to take a minute to talk about a video that was released this week from me. Many of you may have seen it, all of you may have seen it, but I just wanted to take this opportunity to talk with you directly so you know a little more about that. I did send out a little message with the video, but would want to share the story again so you're all familiar and just understand why it's a video that we released for Mannatech. It's actually part of leadership training. In leadership of organization, and if you remember, I'll show you a slide here in a minute. There's leadership of self, which is the first step. There are 3 steps on a path of leadership development. Leadership of self, how you keep your mind right and your heart right and keep your faith focused. Leadership of team, how you interact with others close to you, like Ian and Tracy and Vida. They are close to me and we are a team. So leadership of team. And then leadership of an organization, how you provide leadership to a broad group of people that you may not have as much interaction like I have with Ian. And in leadership of the organization, we use stories to connect to a deeper purpose, which is a principle of leadership, to a deeper mission, to a deeper vision. And purpose, vision, mission. Those are the things that we have, and you tell stories in different ways. So when I have had this opportunity to join Mannatech, one of the most exciting things that I have is to meet all of you. And I haven't met all of you in person yet, right? It takes a little time for me to get around the world and to see you in person. And I look forward to that day when we can connect in person and I can hug you and shake your hand and get to know you and your family and the people that you love. It takes some time before you can get to know me and who I am and my heart. So as I was beginning to get to know you and get to know Mannatech, I sat in this office, which is in my home, one night. It was dark, the lights were dim, and I had been thinking about you and about all of those who do what we do, who are entrepreneurs, who are striving to do something that can be a little scary, to build a business, to share a message and to share products. And at the core, I thought about all of you and your hearts and what is that essence that we all share, including myself. And to me, it's about our personal desire to dream and chase after our dreams, to achieve a life that we all want for ourselves and our families. Mannatech offers us a way to do that. Direct selling offers us a way to do that. These amazing products offer us a way to do that. But at the core, the message is dreams and pursuing a life that brings us joy and happiness. So I wanted to share a message with all of you so you knew that I believe the same and that I'm also a dreamer like you. But I wanted to do it in a way that resonated with you. Again, as you get to know me, you'll find out that I love music. You can see from behind me, there's a piano, there's a microphone there, there's a guitar over here. I love music and love to write music. So throughout my life, I have written different songs and both piano and words and verses. And so I believe strongly in the power of a story through a very short verse or a poem like music. So I wrote this story in like a poem so you can really get to my heart quickly. And that was the purpose of that video, was to share my heart and that story of chasing after your dreams. And so grateful for all those who helped bring that story to life in a video. If you haven't seen it yet, I want to share it with you today. I asked Ian if it would be okay if I share that again. You may have seen it, but I want to share it one more time here, just as a way to kick off why we do what we do. We are here to learn leadership. We are here to learn opportunities to grow our business. But at the essence, everything we do, I believe, is because all of us are pursuing our dreams and achieving something that brings us joy and happiness in our life. And that's what this video is about. So let me prepare that. There it is. And I am going to share my screen, optimize for sound. And Ian, please let me know if you cannot see this. Otherwise, I will assume we're okay. And here's this video again.
致追梦人，致变革者，致无畏的勇者。你们是充分挖掘自身潜力，从不随波逐流的坚持者。当他人心有恐惧，你们总是坚定信念。
So I hope that was helpful to you. That link is available to you, and I invite you to share that story with others if it resonates with you about how we invite all to chase after their dreams as part of being part of Mannatech and this effort of direct selling to change people's lives and help them achieve. So thank you. Hope you enjoy that and just get to know me a little bit more, Steve, and what I believe and feel. So continuing on that, I am grateful that we can talk about leadership today. You all know that is a big part of who I am. And as a review, the reason this is so important for your business is because everything we do is about people. The core of what we do, we invite people to join us. They are volunteers. They come of their own free will and choice to be a part of us, to join us in building their businesses and sharing this message. So we need to learn and understand how we can inspire people to be with us and not just join us, stay with us. So leadership is about learning how to work with people, leading yourself when it gets hard, because it does get hard to be an entrepreneur and to build a business, leading a team, to have people close to you, because you cannot succeed without the help of others. So how do we work with others and make that team be successful? And as I said earlier, how do we share this message with the world? And what is that bigger message? And how do we lead an organization and share our story? What we're going to do is continue. I will go trust that those who are on this call have heard the previous workshop lessons that we've had, where we've discussed the principles of leadership, where I've introduced the story and how all of us are on this journey to fulfill our complete potential, our hero's journey, and how there are some principles that underlie it all. Just like there are laws of nature, the laws of gravity, for example, that is always there, the seasons of the year, the rotation of the earth, the sun, how all of those work together. There is laws, there are rules, there are principles. There are principles of success, there are principles of greatness that when you understand them, learn how to access them on your behalf, it'll accelerate your success and draw people to want to be a part of this with you. That is what we're learning here. So let me go to the presentation. For those of you who received the presentation before, I am on slide 105. And because we have already talked prior to this about different principles, I will touch on those briefly, but I want to make sure I share with you new information that you and your groups can practice and learn and put into practice between now and the next time we meet. So this is a leadership workshop. And what I mean by a leadership workshop is that it is made up of three things. You're going to learn leadership. There is also work involved. This isn't just something where you sit back and watch. There are things I invite you and ask you to do to actually practice the principles that I teach. The principles always work if you work the principle. I want to say that again. The principles always work, just like the law of gravity always works. But you have to work the principle. You have to apply the principle for it to work for you. So we will teach you and have you do things to apply it. And then in a shop, the way I use the word shop in a workshop, I think about when you work on cars or you have different, maybe an artist's workshop. You have tools in your shop. You have things that you use to help you create something. So everything I do in this training, I will give you a tool in your shop that'll help you know how to work to help improve your leadership. So the League of Leaders is a leadership development workshop. So let me explain work. Work is active learning. And I may have touched on this earlier, but it's important now as we get into the deeper principles of leadership of self. Last time, I'm going to pause again. I know I went a little deeper into leadership of team, and we talked about some network marketing principles. I did that so you saw how directly principles can apply to your work. But I promise the key in why we start with leadership of self is not just knowing how to play the game or what work you're supposed to do. It really comes down to how you keep yourself consistent and motivated every day to do what you do, because that is the secret of making your business succeed, is consistency in doing these correct principles. And that starts with leadership of self. So in work, this is about active learning. And in my experience of teaching over many years, I believe there are three levels of learning. The first learning is knowledge, which is where you see and hear something, right? Maybe you attend this seminar and you're listening to me. You're seeing me, you're watching these presentations, and you're hearing it. And you're like, okay, I understand the principle. I see, Steve, what you're teaching. That's just the first active learning level, but there are two others. Understanding. You learn, and the way you demonstrate understanding is that you are able to teach or write about what I'm sharing. What I love about the other group meetings that I know you have with your leaders, I invite you to share and to talk. It's important that you teach, and we have some amazing teachers, and I've gotten emails from many of you who are teaching these principles. I love that because it shows that you are going to the next level in your learning, that of understanding, which is important for these principles to be a part of who you are. And the last level is mastery, which is not just that you have to consciously remember these principles like a class you did in school or for a test. It becomes who you are. You are naturally now principle-centered. Remember, that's the leadership philosophy we're learning. Principle-centered leadership. You operate, you center your choices, your decisions quickly, consistently on principle. That's you living with mastery. That's you becoming a principle-centered leader. That's you developing yourself. Remember, this is leadership development. You're developing yourself into a principle-centered leader, which means you are living and you are doing these principles consistently in your life and have faith in you. They will believe in you and then believe in the principles, which will inspire them to want to do what you do and to be a principle-centered leader. So why mastery of these principles is absolutely important, and why it's critical that you apply these principles with the tools that I give you. You may find other tools, and that's great. Use your creativity to do that. The key is to apply and use these principles daily so they become part of you and you are a master of them. In a workshop, just last time I told you the different principles that are going to be in the League of Leaders. In a shop, I want to give you some of the tools. Here are a list of some of the tools. Many of these you've probably heard of or used before, but we are going to explain the principle behind the tool so you can understand why they are important. I emphasize mindfulness practice a lot because that helps practice your principles of agency and accountability. Journaling is good for accountability. Gratitude journaling for adversity. If many of you are on my day, teach you and reinforce these principles. And any one of you can join that if you'd like. We will talk about affirmation statements and how that ties to the principle of identity. Purpose statement, which identifies to the principle of purpose in your mind right. A vision board, the principle of vision in work right. SMART goals, how those work and how relentlessly you need to use those. Again, it's part of the work right principles. And finally, planning, how we go about using planning, the principle of leverage, other principles like flow and productivity to help you succeed. These are tools I will share with you over the course of this program that you will then be able to use and help you become a better leader and more effective in the use of your time. As a reminder, again, leadership development is a 3-step path that you've started on to become a principle-centered leader. Leadership of self, leadership of team, and leadership of the organization. Underlying it all, there are what's called power principles. They're fundamental energy that principles that work for all three. Those 3 principles are agency, the power to choose and act for yourself, the principle of accountability, that you have personal responsibility for every choice, result, and action in your life, and the principle of adversity, which is that trials, challenges, hardships are necessary for you to grow and develop. That gives you experiences to apply these principles. Without that, the principles don't have an opportunity to function. So that's why adversity should be embraced as a power principle to help you. So those are the things we've already talked for. If you haven't, please listen to the first training to learn those 3 principles in more detail. And the principles of those 3 steps, I explained those in the last training. You can always get those recordings and learn and review those again if you would like. But today, we are going to go deeper into the leadership of broken into 4 different groups of principles to help you remember. The first is to get your heart right. You always start with your heart that moves you to action, what you believe, what you feel, your emotions, your desires. So we're going to talk about the first principle today that helps get your heart right and that ultimately makes leadership work across you and your organization. There are mind right principles to help make sure your mind is focused on the correct things and you're making good decisions with your time, which flows nicely into work right principles, what you do each day, what actions you take, and how you know with confidence you're doing the right activities. And then finally, the health right principles, which are important because if you're sick, if you're not healthy, it's difficult for you to make good decisions. It's difficult for you to work well. So it's very important when you lead yourself to take care of your body and take care of your health. I know this seems very obvious, but when people and entrepreneurs pursue their dreams, they often neglect their health because they're so busy and they want to achieve. In leadership, you have to be intentional and make choices with your agency and accountability to to build your health. There's also very important lessons through the efforts of applying principles of health that reinforce principle-centered leadership for your mind and heart. And I'll explain those when we get there. But for today, we are going to focus on the heart right principles. So when I have studied leadership, and people have asked me for the definition of leadership, and I know I explained principle-centered leadership, but if I'm just talking about the word leadership and leadership development, they say, what's the point? What's the outcome? What's the goal of leadership? And I always explain that in my experience, it comes down to one thing that all leaders, if they could do this and focus on this across themselves, their team and their organization and people that come and want to or are evaluating whether they want to be a part of us, They want this one thing, and that is faith. Now, I use the word faith. I understand it can be used in different sense, like religious senses and things like that. That's not my intent. My intent is to focus just on the principle of faith and how it applies universally to all of us. So faith is a principle that moves us to action and moves us to power. It's the force. So if you remember from one of the first trainings, I used Wonder Woman. It is the force by which we actually create great things and move. And it's also a shield to protect us, a shield of faith when adversity, challenges, hardships, failures come our way. And they will. As being an entrepreneur, as you know, problems will happen. You need to know how to handle those problems. So leadership is about building faith. And this is the definition. This is the principle of faith. It's to create an assurance, a confidence, a knowing of things that are hoped for, but you haven't seen yet. And this is important because that assurance and confidence, that belief that you know that this will happen, is what drives you forward. And when you have hope, meaning that you directly correlate whatever actions you are taking to you and to have hope for that it'll accomplish for you. Like, I hope I can earn $500 a month. I believe in Mannatech and these products and this business opportunity, and that gives me hope that I can do that. You then create actions. You do the things necessary. You follow the counsel of your leaders to know what to do. Even though you have not received the $500 a month yet or more, you move because you have faith in someone and you have hope for it, which creates an assurance that it will happen. Let me share with you a story that maybe will help illustrate this. I don't know about all of you, but when I was a teenager, I had a job. I started my first job as a teenager when I was 14 years old. I was a dishwasher and a busboy, so cleaning tables, in a restaurant. I grew up in the Seattle area of Washington State in the United States, and I got an opportunity to be a dishwasher and a busboy in a Mexican restaurant. And it was a fun experience, not the best work, but I really enjoyed having the job. Now, when I first started the work, and think about you, did you have a job or something like that, maybe when you were younger? Did they pay you up front? So I start work. I'm a dishwasher. Did they pay me for the 2 weeks that I would work first? Steve, here's all the money for you. Thank you for being a part of us. Now go do the work. I have not found many businesses at all that'll pay you first. They pay you at the end of the 2 weeks, right? Think about that. I still showed up to work. I came every day. Even though I haven't seen the money in my bank account, I acted. And an assurance that I would be paid. And therefore I acted. I moved. I did the work. I washed the dishes. I cleaned the tables. I took the plates away. Now, this is important. Similar to all principles, it may seem simple, but once you understand this is a principle of human behavior and that leadership's about developing faith in others, this will help you understand one of the most important principle or first principles of leadership to help you succeed. You need to influence someone's faith so they act. Think about that restaurant. I walked into a building. I saw other people working there. Clearly, they had worked there longer than me, and they kept coming back, which gave me faith that they were getting paid. I saw customers coming in, eating the food, enjoying the food, being happy. That gave me faith that the business would continue. I had an assurance to build my faith of an insurance that I also would receive compensation, that I would be paid. Does this make sense? I know I'm taking a long time to explain it, but once you see that this principle operates everywhere in the world, you will become a different leader to know what you're supposed to do. So faith is that principle of action and the principle of power that helps things move and things get unleashed and acted upon. So, as I said, faith is a principle of action. I acted because I had faith I would be paid. And then the principle of power is when I have such belief, unwavering belief and desire in what I'm doing, I can break through and do great things, maybe even things that has never been done before, or things that seem impossible. You know of people like this in your life or in the world who seems to have done great things. If you study, you'll see that they not only had enough faith to get them to work, but they had enough faith and belief in what they were doing that no matter what happened, they kept going. If they had a problem, they worked through the problem. If products sold out, it didn't stop them. They figured out a way to move forward. If there was a pandemic and their business stopped, they figured out a way to change and move forward. That's power, because they had unwavering faith in themselves, or faith in their team, or faith in the organization that helped them keep moving forward. So to get your heart right, one of the first things you need is to understand how to build faith. And as I talked a little earlier, this is something from the first training where I showed this triangle, this pyramid, and how principles are at the base. And if there are experiences that reinforces a principle, it starts to build faith or belief, which then influences decisions and how people make decisions, what actions they do, and eventually what results that they get, which is what you want to be able to do and achieve as a leader. So faith is built right here where I have the arrow pointing at beliefs. Beliefs come from experiences. Experiences are based on principles. So back to my story of the Mexican restaurant. The principle is faith. I had experiences by so many things that reinforced my faith that then I created my own faith that caused me to decide to come to work, to act, and generate the results of cleaning the dishes. When the team all acted together, we successfully helped that restaurant succeed. This same approach works for your businesses. When you give enough experiences to yourself and to your team that reinforces their faith in you and in your team and in your business and organization, they will continue to come. They will continue to give you their heart, the actions each day, and eventually the results that you need to grow your business. So essentially, leadership is about building faith, which is why it's the first principle in the heart right principles of leadership of self. It's also a part of a team. When we have faith in each other, we can do great things. And then faith in the organization. When you have faith in the leaders, when you have faith in the products, when you have faith in the mission, like M5M, when you have faith in our cause, it creates action and it creates power. So you want to be able to build faith. Now, what's important in leadership to understand is that faith is such a powerful principle. There is an equally powerful enemy of faith, and that's fear. Faith and fear cannot coexist to help you or your teams achieve. So you have to eliminate fear so you can operate with faith. It is constantly a tug of war. You're constantly battling fear, questioning yourself. Can I do this? Am I an imposter? Will people figure out that I don't know what I'm doing, right? That's the fear side versus living with faith. I can figure this out. I have people who believe in me. I know I can get guidance from my leaders if I need help. So the enemy of faith is fear. You may have heard this, and fear in the English spelling is F-E-A-R, and some people refer to it as false evidence appearing real, F-E-A-R. This helps you realize that fear is actually not real. You're creating it in your mind. And therefore, we have to combat that. And faith and building your faith is the way to combat that. This is a quote that I think so beautifully teaches the difference between faith and fear and how they interact with each other, and how faith is a powerful way to combat and win against fear. This is the quote. Think about whether this is true to you. You may have heard this quote before. It's from Marianne Williamson, a wonderful author in the United States. But see if the truths in this quote resonate with you. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Think about that. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. Think about that. People sometimes hold themselves back. They shrink so other people won't feel insecure. This is not enlightened for you to live at your full potential, at your full greatness. We are all meant to shine as children do. Think about children in your lives. Do they just light up? We are all meant to have that light. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. And it's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And I will acknowledge that this is a Christian-based writer, so please know, look at the principle behind it, okay? That there is a deeper light within all of us. Everyone has that potential, right? Just look at children. And as we let our own light shine, as you embrace all of your gifts and talents and amazing wonder that you are, you unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. This last part is incredibly important for you to understand. This is leadership. That as you, leadership of self, unleash your own light, your own talent, and do not let the fear govern, you unconsciously are giving other people permission to do the same. And as you liberate yourself, your presence liberates others, and they are drawn to you. Leadership, they have faith in you. There's something special about you. Remember, this business is about you and people. It's not just about selling product. That's extremely important. It's not just about offering people the business opportunity. That's extremely important. But really what makes our business successful is that people believe in you as a leader, that you can guide them, that you can help them, that you have faith in yourself and in what you're doing. That light draws people to say, I want to be with her. I want what she has. I want to feel what she feels. And then they're open. Their heart is right to listen to your message. Tell them about the products and how glyconutrition can change their life. Tell them about the opportunity and how network marketing and direct selling can change their financial life. You can tell them about our community and how the friendships and love that exists amongst us all can bring them support to navigate any hardship in their lives, to build these friendships and relationships that bring us all so much joy. That comes from your light. And that light comes from eliminating the fear, and ultimately it comes from leading yourself, others, and your organization with faith. So the first principle of the heart right is, how do you build faith? So here is the assignment. to understand how to exercise this principle. And this is something you do every day. It's very simple. It's the key is to be consistent. If faith is what moves you to action and unleashes your power, it's strengthened through learning and applying leadership principles. If I could put it even more simply, I was having this conversation internally with some of the people I work with. They were asking, how do you inspire faith, Steve? If faith is so important to build leadership and in ourselves, etc., how do you do it? It's very simple. Faith comes from words, right? If you have faith and the words you share, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Please don't think you have to be this brilliant speaker. You may hear someone speak on stage who has such powerful, like when I listen to Julia or Tony, they have such power because they're so inspirational, as many of you are. You don't have to be them. It is you speaking sincerely from your heart that people feel and listen to and want to, and they connect with. The video I shared with you at the beginning was words from my heart. So that hopefully those words inspired you to have faith to want to be a part and to continue to be a part of this community of people who are tracing your dreams. So there are words. So what you do every day, the tool you use to build your faith is listen to or read words that inspire you. Books. Read books. Listen to inspiring podcasts. Listen to this leadership training. Read the texts that I send out every day. Those things are intentionally done to inspire you to build your faith in principle and in yourself. What you see on the screen, if you want to receive those messages from me, just text Mannatech to that number. It's a US-based number, so if you're not able to text, we don't have it on other platforms yet. I'm sorry. But you don't have to just get my text. Choose good books to help you learn and read. Leaders are the greatest readers. So if you're not, I see people texting right now, good job. If you're not currently daily reading or listening to books that inspire you to help you build your leadership or help you understand and master the business you're in, such as network marketing, they're still coming. Thank you. My phone's blowing up. So thank you, everyone who is joining this. You will begin to get the messages starting tomorrow. But those are keys for you. And if there is a book that I would recommend, you're probably saying, Steve, where do I start? And I believe this one is translated into Chinese. Ian will teach me if I'm wrong. I'm sorry, Ian, I should have looked at that, but I believe it's been around for a while. This book, How to Build Network Marketing Leaders, I have found is in volume 1. You're going to find there's a volume 2. Please read volume 1. Volume 2 is good, but volume 1 is better. This book teaches, and it doesn't say it as specific as I do in the League of Leaders, but it teaches about agency, accountability, and adversity. It teaches about leadership thinking. And leadership thinking is just another way of saying leading with faith and not fear. So I invite you to read this book and with your leaders, talk about this book in your small groups. So there's 2 things that I'm asking you to do. You begin to get in the habit of reading, if you haven't already, and you use these select books to help create discussion amongst yourselves to learn and see principles. That's how you build faith. You read books. You'll see that I have books behind me. Inside of here, I have books. I have books all over here. The person that is our CEO, Mr. Al Bala, his office has books stacked and stacked. He is constantly filling his mind with these types of principles to build his faith in himself and in the team and in the organization of what Mannatech does. That's a great example of leadership. I'll give you another quick story. Julia, when I have trained on these principles, I remember when we were in Seattle together, Julia, you came up to me and asked me for more books that you could read, and you devoured them, and you were looking and you read the English and the Chinese versions so you could understand. That is excellent leadership of self to help you learn principles and build your faith that you can see and operate through principle. One more thing about this book. What Big Al teaches in how to build network marketing leaders, you're going to find that he teaches about what's called leadership thinking and what's called distributor thinking. And essentially, he's explaining agency, accountability, and adversity. He said leaders understand and make different choices when adversity comes. He talks a lot about how to deal with problems, which is another word for adversity. And what he teaches is great leaders accept those problems, accountability, make proper choices that are principle-based, agency, and that is how they succeed. And great leaders who understand and can find and develop other great leaders who understand these principles succeed. So this is so important for you. I have shared this book with hundreds, if not thousands, of network marketing professionals. The top $1 million earners that I have worked with personally point to this book. They read it at least once a year to remind them of what is really important to grow their business. It's not just understanding duplication, how to present the product, resolve concerns. Those are important skills of a network marketing professional, but they understand that truly to help your business grow, you need to find and retain 2, 3, 5 real leaders that join you as a team. And this book will help you see those principles and help you understand what you look for and how you develop a great leader. So I invite you to read that book. Now, there are other principles in I'm going to stop sharing because there are other principles in HeartRight. And I am pondering how much to share with you as we continue to grow. What I'm thinking to do next time, as you saw on my screen, I want to talk about a few of the principles that we have in the MindRight. I'll probably come back to some of the other principles of HeartRight, but I want you to master that principle of faith and focus on it and understand how powerful it is as a leader, that is what you objected to, that is what you're striving to do. So next time when I teach, so Ian, I'm going to end a little early, just as a little gift back to everyone of their time. But I'm going to stop at the principle of faith today because I want you to be able to get the book and I want you to spend time reading the book and I want you to have time to really focus on it before I introduce another principle. And then for those who are preparing for the next time, I will teach the MindRight principles of identity and purpose if you want to look ahead. But for now, please focus on that principle of faith and review and apply the principles you've done before. That is equally as important as the new principles that you are learning. I can't emphasize this enough. I have trained and coached so many leaders, and many people are too impatient and want to learn the next thing. Remember, this is about mastery of the principle, not just knowledge. So if you are not consistently practicing and using the tools that I have given you, agency, are you doing mindfulness practice every day? Are you learning to center and create more space between stimulus and response? If not, please take the time to implement into your morning routine a mindfulness practice or something similar that helps you practice agency. Accountability. Are you using journals, even if it's just a few lines, to reflect on what you have done each day to improve as a leader, as a business professional, as an entrepreneur? If not, please go back and be relentless in your discipline to apply that principle. Adversity. A specific journal that I recommend is a gratitude journal because it helps you see the seeds of, my quote this morning, I quoted Napoleon Hill on the text, where he said, through every adversity, there is a seed of equal and greater benefit for you. You have to find that seed, and gratitude is how you can look through the adversity and find what you're supposed to learn, that magic seed that you can then nurture and grow. And then the continued principles that we talked last week of understanding duplication in network marketing, to see and understand that recruiting and bringing new people on, which is why leadership is so important, but understanding that that new person, she needs to be able to start successfully and then help people that she knows start successfully. If that is continuing to go, then you are going to be able to create an engine that'll help your business grow. A duplication engine with network marketing and products and messaging and techniques, coupled with a leadership development engine that you are learning here, which is simply giving people books and teaching them simple ways to build their faith each day. The combination of the two, leadership and your direct selling principles, will help you succeed and grow your business. One last thought. I guess I am taking a little time, Ian, but I just saw someone send me a chat, and you probably saw it too. Let me read it again. Heart right is to build faith and inspire others to build faith. That is right. Heart right and leadership is to build faith and inspire others to build faith. But then I can't read who this was, so I apologize. But he or she said that it is find the magic seeds. Let me just tell you one more story about that, because there's something that struck me. As I have thought about leadership, and as I've thought about the training that I've given, I loved the feedback. What I love that I get from your leaders is I ask them, how can I provide better training to help you succeed as a leader? And some of the feedback was that my example of Wonder Woman in the movie may not resonate across the world because of maybe it's more of an American culture, not quite resonate everywhere. So I thought about that. And here is what I came up with. And I want to go to the magic seeds. Think about what all of us can appreciate anywhere in the world of the power of a seed, right? Seeds contain within it all the necessary attributes to be a great tree, to be a flower or a magnificent tree. There's such beautiful trees of nature all over the world. They all start with a seed. And that seed has that inherent ability in it. How do you get that from the seed to be unleashed? You have to take the seed and plant it in good soil. Then once it's planted, do you just leave it alone? No, that seed needs to be nourished. It needs to be cared for. And then it grows. And it grows into a small plant. But if you can continue to nourish it by water and by sun, eventually it'll grow and strengthen to become a beautiful tree. And not only that, that tree can produce beautiful fruit that you can enjoy for the rest of your life because you have built the tree. You have created and nurtured the tree. Each of you have those seeds of greatness within you. You just need to nurture them. Principles are like seeds that you are planting in your hearts. Your hearts is the soil. Is your heart open to the seeds that we are giving you? As you take those seeds and nurture them by practicing those principles with the tools that I'm trying to give you, you are nurturing those seeds. And when you see and feel those seeds start to work for you, that your faith builds, that you have more centered control, all of those things will help you realize you are growing into a beautiful tree. You are growing into that leader. You are growing into your full potential to live your best life. That's what this is all about. So please ponder the seeds. Ponder the work involved to make those seeds grow into the tree that they can become. And see if you are being as relentlessly disciplined as is necessary for those seeds to be unleashed. Because remember, the foundational formula for success that I have studied and learned over the years, and that I keep right here on my desk as the simple reminder, greatness is simply a matter of principle-centered choice and relentless discipline. Both principle-centered choice and relentless discipline. if we are doing principles to help that seed grow, because we know what it takes, and you are disciplined in providing nourishment to those seeds, it will grow. If you want to grow as a leader, there are principles. If you use them by making choices, apply them correctly, and are relentlessly disciplined at using them, you and your business will grow. I know this is true. I promise you. I have helped many. They have succeeded. And there's others. I'm embarrassed to share this a little bit, but I was grateful recently for one of the $1 million earners that I worked with. She tagged me on Facebook to acknowledge all the training through principle-centered leadership that has brought her to become a multi-million-dollar earner in our business. And she credits, of course, hard work, but she sees the power of these principles. And I hope that you see them here too, and that you take time over this next month with your leaders to practice your principles, adding on the principles of faith, and using the books and training that we talked about today. So thank you, all of you. Ian, if you'd like to come back on and close us out, sir. But that would be our training for the day. And please continue to work hard, choose to be great, and do good every day. And you will find that joy in what we do here as Mannatech. So thank you, Ian. Thank you, sir, again for the opportunity. I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much. And then every time I listen to you in these trainings, and I cannot stop being impressed by the clear logic that you have, the ample emotion that you've demonstrated, and also the great depth in the content of your training. Thank you very much. It's very powerful.
Thank you, sir. That means a lot. Thank you.
好的，谢谢各位。我们今天的以原则为中心领导力的培训，就进行到此。那么今天呢 ，Steven 为我们讲了一个非常重要的一个原则，就是信念。那么他提到了今天的培训呢，主要是培训我们正确的心灵啊。那么下一次的培训呢，会培训我们正确的思想啊，正确的思想 ，mind right。好的，谢谢各位。我们以原则为中心领导力的培训是1个月1次啊，1个月1次，就是每个月的北美的时间是达拉斯时间上午11点钟啊，每个月第一个周四的达拉斯时间上午11点钟，也就是美国西海岸温哥华的每个月第一个周四的西海岸时间上午9点钟。那么下一次培训呢是9月7号。好的，敬请各位期待。那么我们下一次培训见。好，谢谢各位，谢谢。Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.